everyone, it's Angela from Cake Angel, and today I'm going to show you how to make different consistencies of royal icing. So as you can see, I have a bowl of red royal icing that's straight from my mixer. It is more of a stiffer consistency, and when I pull the spatula up through it, you can see that it doesn't really move. It's quite a thick consistency of icing, and this is ideal for things like piping flowers or any details that you want to stand out in your icing. Now, to thin my icing, I like to use a water spray bottle, and the reason I do this over using a measuring spoon is that I find I can control the amount of water that I add to my icing a lot easier. So I've just done a couple of sprays, and then I'm going to start to stir that into the icing. As I'm stirring, I like to push the icing against the side of the bowl, and that actually helps to reduce the amount of air that I'm incorporating into my icing as it thins down. You'll notice straight away that it is starting to look a little looser, and the icing bends over a little bit now. It's also got a bit of a shiny consistency to it. So this is still quite stiff, and one of the tests is if you actually jiggle the spatula back and forth. If the icing starts to melt into itself, then it is getting thinner. And we're going to add just a little bit more water to take it down to the next level of consistency. And again, when I'm stirring, I'm going to make sure that I'm pushing that against the side of the bowl, just again to reduce the amount of air in my icing. So you can see straight away that it is a little bit looser again. It does actually melt back a tiny bit on itself. And here you can see that it will actually smooth over when you adjust it with the spatula. So this would be more of a medium consistency, which is good for anything like pressure piping, particularly if you're doing leaves and you want to have a puffy look to them. So let's add a little bit more and thin it down again. So now the icing becomes a lot easier to stir. Your spatula runs through it nicely, and you can see that it looks a lot looser. And when I pull it up, it curves over straight away. This still isn't quite flood consistency. This is more of a hybrid or a medium flood. So I'm going to continue to stir that. You want to make sure that all of the icing has been fully incorporated. And again, it will smooth over nicely when you adjust it with your spatula. You can see it does start to slightly melt back into itself as well. So to take it down to that final flood consistency, we're going to add a little bit more water, and I do like to keep my flood on the slightly thicker side, so you could add a little bit more if you like it to be a more runny consistency. One thing I should add is that I always colour my icing before I start to change the consistency, because that can actually affect it as well. So there you go, you can see it is starting to melt back into itself. It's still going to have a little bit of puffiness because it's on the thicker side for the flood consistency, but it will give you that really nice smooth look that we all like on our cookies. And look how shiny that is as well. And there we go, here's an example of a cookie that was flooded with this icing. I hope that's been useful for you. Thanks for watching.